It's fair to say that over the years we've had a lot of monster movies, and more than a few of those have been Godzilla films. There have been 7 before this latest one, Godzilla Minus One, over the last 10 years alone. The very best monster movies, and I count films like Alien, Jaws and Jurassic Park in that list, aren't just about the monster. They say something more, something about us as human beings. This latest Godzilla film definitely hangs with those I just mentioned. It's certainly off to a flying start at the box office, grossing more in its domestic opening weekend than any other live-action Japanese film, and faring just as well internationally, second only to Yimou Zhang's wonderful 2002 movie Hero. Gareth Edwards, director of his own Godzilla film and Star Wars' Rogue One, was apparently given an early screening and came out looking pretty green. "This is what a Godzilla movie should be," he said. The film's certainly different to its predecessors in the sense that it's actually a period piece, set at the end of the Second World War. It tells the story of Japanese kamikaze pilot Koichi Shikishima, played by Ryunosuke Kamiki, who, declining to throw away his life for his government by smashing himself to smithereens, fakes a technical issue with his plane and lands on Odo Island. That night, the island is attacked by Godzilla, and Shikishima has a chance to save the islanders by shooting the monster with the guns on his plane. Unfortunately, he lacks the courage and many die. Returning to the mainland and his hometown in shame, Shikishima runs into a young woman called Noriko, played by Minami Hamabe, cradling a baby girl. Inviting them into his home, they soon set up a life there, as happy as they can be in the post-war chaos. But when Shikishima gets a new job out at sea helping a crew detonate old mines from the war, they start to see signs of Godzilla again, and pretty soon the whole mainland is a threat. With no other choice, Shikishima and his new friends hatch a plan to try and kill the monster, but will they manage it before it can destroy Japan itself, and will Shikishima be able to pull the trigger when the time comes? I haven't measured this precisely, as you might expect, but apparently Godzilla is only on the screen in Godzilla Minus One for 11 minutes of its 2-hour 4-minute runtime. That's about 9% for you stat nerds out there. Which runs the risk of being a major problem for the film. It's important to give an audience what they're expecting in a movie if you want them to come out satisfied. But one thing saves it. You see, in reality, most of Godzilla Minus One is actually a character drama focusing on Shikishima and his battle to find his courage and forgive himself for his failings in the war. But it also pokes at the Japanese government for the way it treated its soldiers during World War II. And it's this last element that merges so well with the monster movie genre and brings this whole film together into a cohesive whole. In his brilliant book on storytelling, 7 Basic Plots, Christopher Brooker argued that the monster story is really about a group of people atoning for their sins. The monster's merely a physical manifestation of this. Greed is the sin of the mayor of Amity Island in Jaws, and in Jurassic Park it's the arrogance of scientists tampering with nature. In Godzilla Minus One it's that government and the damage it's done to its soldiers. "This country never changes," says one of them. Perhaps it can't. Driving all of this on a personal level is Shikishima himself, whose own guilt and shame stop him from truly moving forward with his life. He's an odd hero for a monster movie, in that he can lack courage at times, make the wrong decisions, but an assured script means that you always know his heart's in the right place. He earns the change in his character in the film. The story throws everything at him, and it makes his journey all the more compelling because of it. Godzilla Minus One is constructed brilliantly, with careful pacing that mixes character moments and action in just the right amounts. It bothers to do the work of introducing its characters to the audience, showing you their hopes, desires and problems. It's something so many movies now feel like it's okay to skip, even though it's actually incredibly destructive to the storytelling. And when things really do kick off, you care so much more about what happens because of this. Every character has their moment. Chekhov's guns are placed and later fired, including one brilliant one at the end that you see coming a mile off, but satisfying nevertheless. The film looks great, if a little unspectacular, with the standout of course being Godzilla himself. Shots are constructed on a human scale, with the camera on ground level a lot of the time. In the city attacks, this sometimes echoes the feeling of a 9/11 clip, with rubble and dust flying. It's muscular and quite frightening if you really put yourself in the scene, precisely what the monster parts of a monster movie should be. Seeing boats tumbling through the sky is really something. The acting throughout is top notch. Kamiki plays Shikishima with a PTSD sheen that matches his character's troubles, and Yoshioka Hidetaka plays a likeable Kenji Noda, the brains of the operation against Godzilla. I also thought the young actress who played Shikishima's toddler was fantastic. I've never seen such realistic crying from a child in a film. If she can cry that easily on demand, she must run rings around her parents. A few more thoughts. The music in the film is fantastic, heightening the tension throughout. It's also an inventive movie that doesn't always do what you expect it to, and it's not afraid to be quiet sometimes, to let its story breathe, hang on an image or scene. And the finale is thrilling. I won't say any more on that so as not to spoil. There are a few wonky bits. The exposition can be a bit talking head video gamey at times, but apart from one Star Wars preparation to destroy the Death Star scene late on, it's generally short and gets out of the way quickly. There are so many themes and ideas sloshing in the cauldron of this film that it does get a little muddled at times, but it seems fairly purposeful. And there's no real explanation of where Godzilla comes from, or at least none that I caught. I kind of like this and kind of don't. I think your mileage may vary depending on how much you like your movies to be explained. But boy, is this a good movie overall. It all just fits together so well. Character arcs, plot, themes, pacing. It's like a solar system of planets orbiting that central character, which is precisely how this kind of story should work. It also says a lot, this film, with themes of friendship, shame, finding courage, how governments treat their people in times of war, forgiving oneself, making up for past mistakes. And while it might not quite hit the levels of the monster films I mentioned at the start of this video, Alien, Jaws, Jurassic Park, it's not just another city-smashing, monster-stomping blamfest either. In fact, it might well be one of the best films of 2023. Anyway, nothing more to say. This is Movie Maverick, signing out.